Good morning. Good morning, Mike. Good morning, fantasy community. And good morning, I guess, everybody. We are here chilling. We're going to hop into we are currently in a Underdog best ball lobby for the little pup. And we are going to draft the best ball team. Mike and I are both in the same draft. So I'll be drafting on screen. Mike will be drafting personally. But we'll kind of chat through it. Good morning, Mike. How are you?
Good morning, man. Feeling good. It's a nice day outside. Not too humid, not too hot. So beautiful morning. Got the windows open here, ready to go.
Love to hear it. Here, and then I'll share my screen. And here we are in the draft room, ready to go. And Jonathan Taylor, of course, off the board. Mike, would you go anybody different at one?
Not than Jonathan Taylor. What surprises me is Cooper Kupp is that high. I don't understand how he's being drafted so high. Not that he has such a great year to go off of, but there goes Cooper Kupp. Wow, I just don't think he's going to be able to repeat. So
right. So I'm up. Mike, I'm doing it. Good old Christian McCaffrey.
I love it.
I think when he's playing, he's incredible, and I don't want to pass up on that, so I'm taking him.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go ahead and get my boy Derrick Henry here. I don't want him to slide anymore. I think it's a big year for him and that Titans team. I'm going to have to snag him there. Some of these names are pretty interesting up this high here, not going to lie.
Yeah, they're definitely intriguing here. I'll share a different screen. This will get the draft board up.
Yeah, so we both started off with some solid running backs here. And, I have the same feeling about McCaffrey this year that I kind of do with Barkley. I think those are two running backs that are going to have some bounce back this year.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm excited about Barkley. I've done a few of these best balls already. These in Underdog, and I keep snagging Saquon. But I think where he's going, he's like pick 25. I think is his ADP.
Yeah,
that's too easy.
Oh yeah. A healthy Barkley, man, he'll be going. He'll have such a great year. He'll be going back in the first round again.
Oh yeah, I think so.
I think this year he might escape. He might escape the first round, might leak into the second round. But I think
I think you'll see him in the back of the second.
Yeah, most likely.
And that's where I would happily take him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you'd like to think that those early picks are the ones that are going to be the most consistent throughout the year, won't really hurt you. That's one of those picks I wouldn't be scared about. First round, such as like everybody that fell for that trap last year, I get it. With Barkley getting hurt. But yeah, second round, you could take that risk. I feel like it's that first round pick that if you mess that pick up, that's the one
you're broken.
That could end your season. So, some interesting names on the board here. I went running back first, but guys like DeAndre Swift still on the board here, very intriguing.
Yeah, being in this quite a few times, or being in a few of these drafts, wide receivers fly. And I think that's just because I don't think it's because it's top heavy. I think it's just because people love them this year. I don't blame them. There are some huge names. I'm seeing one that I'm hoping floats to me. But if he doesn't, Mike, you're up.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to take Mike Evans there. I love
that's who I was looking at.
But starting the year 6 weeks, they're saying, without Chris Godwin, man, those wide receiver one numbers are looking good there. Kyle on the clock.
Oh, this is tricky. Because
This
I
is
can't say I love going RB to start. I'd love to get a receiver. Oh, and I see a few. I know where I'm going. I'm gonna take Fournette.
I
I
like that.
think I know we saw that picture that came out 2 days ago, where he looked like he gained 80 pounds, but I'm not worried about it. Let the man take an offseason off. He'll get back to what he needs to be. But
Yeah.
no, I love Fournette in this offense. He's incredible.
Oh yeah. Just he took such a big leap last year with his catching ability. Nobody saw that coming. Nobody really accounted for all the PPR points, and he just ran with it. Brady forced him to become a pass catcher out of the backfield. So,
Absolutely.
ooh, and man, you had a tough decision there, and you're coming back on again some great running backs on that list here in a pick. But you heard you got two here.
Yeah, I'm straying away. I would love to take Saquon if he sticks around, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I will. I think I've got too much ownership of him. I'm gonna pass on him, but especially as an RB3, I would. That's incredible. But I'm passing. I'm actually gonna go with one of my favorite receivers this year, and Michael Pittman.
Oof.
And Mike, let me tell you, I think he's got a big year ahead of him. Uh, with Matt Ryan, and just I think he's poised to be good, be incredible, and kind of be that potential wide receiver one, like top 12. And
Mm-hmm.
that's what I'm looking for.
This is a tough one here. Oh man. I think I'm going to really switch it up here. Oh, and there we go. I get kicked from the draft. So that one's
Uh-oh.
going to be. Oop, did I get it in time? No, I did not. But all right, that works anyways. I was deciding between going Josh Allen, Kamara, and Nick Chubb there anyways. So that works out.
Looks like you got your mind made up for you.
Oh, yeah. That's all right there. Little connection issues early in the morning.
Uh,
But yeah,
to be had.
loading up with two running backs and one receiver now. I feel pretty good.
Looks like we're following a similar approach.
We are definitely are here.
I think now
I
is when
was
we'll
really
start to
thinking.
stray.
Oh yeah, I was really thinking Josh Allen there too. That was interesting. I think this might be his MVP year. I predicted him to win it last year and fell just short. I'd love to see Rodgers try for the 3P without Adams. That doesn't seem to be likely this year, but we'll see. It's really funny you mentioned the picture of Najee Harris and his weight. I'm drawing a blank on the name. They did that with one of the Packers running backs in the offseason years ago.
Was it Eddie? Eddie Lacy?
Big Eddie, man. Oh man. See, that one was a little bit more warranted. That one, I
Oh, he
feel like
looked.
that was more than maybe putting on like 10, 15 pounds. That was more like 20, 30 pounds.
Yeah, he went up a weight class.
Yeah, yeah. He went from middleweight to heavyweight, definitely there. So,
All right, Mike, you're coming up.
yeah, and I'm seeing Zeke on this list, and I'm scrolling down more because if Zeke's on the list this high, there's got to be some good names down here. And as I scroll down, I am liking some of the running backs, but another tough decision here. You got Jerry Judy on that list, who is dealing with some off the field issues. I think he'll be ready to go for the season, but that's someone I'm definitely going to avoid here. And he went anyways. Hmm. Ooh, another tough one. I'm loving Herbert here. I'm loving Zeke, but I'm loving somebody even more, and that's Allen Robinson. I think
Ooh.
he's finally going to have a great breakout year. With Cooper Cup getting all that attention, clearing some stuff up for him. I think he's ready to ball and remind people who he actually is.
You mentioned one that I'm taking. It's Justin Herbert. I
Love it.
I think he's got QB1 overall potential. And in best ball, I think you're going to get those 50, 40-point weeks. Maybe not 50, but like those 40-point weeks probably once or twice this season. And that's kind of what you look for in these leagues. But to finish QB1, I think he has probably the best shot in the league. Behind Josh Allen. But
Right.
I'm excited about him. I love taking Herbert.
Oh, wow.
Especially when I can back him up.
Oh, yeah. And you just
I
started a
kicked it
QB
off.
train, it looks like. Yeah.
They
Wow.
must have had Herbert in their queue, so they're like, oof. Oh, it's just him. He double up on QBs.
Yeah, I'm looking at the list here. Honestly, I don't think I would be upset if I had to wait one more round here to get my stack with Brady and Evans here, with some of the QBs that are left. You got guys like Burrow, Kyler Murray, Brady, Wilson, some Dak Prescott in there. You know what? And the way things are going right now, how are you feeling about Trey Lance entering the year? I feel like he could have a typical or a similar season to Jalen Hurts his first year.
I think I'm with you there. I don't have too high expectations of him or from him. I am mostly I don't know. He's not one I'm probably targeting this year in drafts, unless I can take him as like a QB2 at like the last or later rounds, and I'm just not loving the other skill positions. Then I'll probably take my shot on Trey, but I don't think I'm fully committed to make him a QB1 this year.
Right.
So I see you went Dobbins. I went Zeke. I figured in the 5th round, why not with Zeke? I don't see why he can't be a top 15 back, and I think he might have gone like, I don't know, which RB was he? 20. I'm happy taking him there, and I think you would agree. You mentioned him probably 15 picks before.
Yeah, that's such a solid pick. I mean, the man has been nothing but consistent, even with Tony Pollard developing this role now. He's been so consistent year after year. You're not going to get those 30, 40-point games from him anymore, but at his best, you're going to see him in the high 20s, and at his worst, you should see him around 10 every week, and that's just solid best ball right there.
What are your thoughts on Dobbins? You like him this year?
I'm liking Dobbins. It's always the concern of returning from the injury.
Oh, yeah.
I love him as the number one, man. Just to see what he was able to do his rookie year. I love him. I got some high hopes for him. If he can come in and do that same thing, be that X factor in the run game, I'm looking forward to it. I would have rather gotten the other runner in Baltimore, Lamar, but I'll settle for him here.
So your team build out, you've got two receivers, 3 running backs. How you feeling about that? You thinking of looking anywhere else? You just gonna stack those 2 for now? Until you see someone on the other positions you like, or what? What are you thinking here?
Yeah, I don't know. I think I'm gonna take QB, and I'm looking for the stack with Brady and Evans at this point. I think, unless he goes earlier, I'm probably sticking there. Worst case, I'll go Dak a little bit later. I think I'm gonna grab another receiver here, actually, and see what I can do with that here. I also am scrolling down a little bit, and I'm seeing Dalton Schultz here, and that is a little bit tempting because you still have a potential stack with Schultz and Dak out there as well. I think Schultz is easily penciled in to be a tight end 5 this year in that category. Worst case 6 or 7. I think, you know what? I'm actually going to snag him here. I think
good pick.
In redraft, I think that's going to be a solid flex play.
Yep. No, I really like that. Here. So I'm primarily looking at a receiver, but I think I'm going to go with Treylon Burks. I think A.J. Brown being out of Tennessee, I don't see Robert Woods kind of being that number one guy there. I'm sure he'll have some good weeks where he is the guy, but I don't think they would have drafted Burks if they weren't looking for another kind of superstar receiver, and that's kind of what they drafted Burks for. So I'm happy to be on the fantasy side of all that.
Yeah, what a role to fill too. He has a huge role on this team. I think for this year that he's penciled in to be a starter, uh, and his opportunity is there. On the clock again here. What are you looking here?
I am taking a guy that everybody seems to love and see as the kind of floor drafted player, and that is CEH, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I like him. I really like him at his value. I think Kansas City is going to change up their personality this season. I think they're kind of forced to without Tyreek. And I still don't think they would have drafted Clyde if they didn't have any thoughts on how to use him. So that's why I went with him. I think he's being drafted kind of at his floor. I think, especially as my RB4, I think that is going to be, I'm happy with him there. Super happy with him there. And you took Brady. You finished up that stack.
I got the stack. Yeah, I didn't want to wait any longer here. I see. I think there was a team or two ahead of me with no quarterbacks here. I wasn't going to wait any longer, so I went ahead and stacked.
Yeah,
pretty good.
And that's kind of how you have to draft too. Sometimes is kind of looking at what your league mates are drafting. Because if you're like, I need a QB, but so do the next four guys, that's when you kind of pull the trigger on one. Especially when you see this lineup of QBs pulling up. That's when I kind of look at this when I'm thinking of what I need, not only because I'm looking for players, but also because I'm like, all right, this is what everybody else is seeing. So if they're seeing four QBs fill up this slot, they're probably thinking, all right, maybe I need a QB. And
Right.
that's when you should snag one. That's when I snag one. Or you go a little bit early and take Herbert.
Yeah. And I think that's a strategy I'm going to have to look for in redraft this year. I think I'm going to go early quarterback for the first time ever, and try to make that work for myself here.
I think it's just there's so many superstars up there this year with Herbert and Allen, and then you kind of have a little bit of not a dip, but then you got like Russell Wilson, Dak, and Brady. I mean, I know we both kind of like him, but for fantasy purposes, I think you kind of have that tier that is middle to early drafting QBs. And I think this year they're all really good targets.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely some good ones. You got, I think for the first time ever, you kind of see Lamar is not even in that first tier QB. He kind of dropped into that second tier. So that's interesting. I feel like Josh Allen and Herbert are going to take the cake this year, the first two gone. And then you're going to see guys like Lamar off the board, just some big names, but second tier now, which is pretty interesting. So, yeah, they're actually there's some decent quarterback names still out there. And I see two interesting wide receivers up there right now: Christian Kirk and Russell Gage. And there goes Kirk. That's somebody I was definitely looking at that value there. It's just great value. And even Russell Gage would be nice here if I didn't have Evans already.
Oh, yeah.
Interesting pick coming up here. I got my tight end. I got my QB. I'm probably looking receiver here. And I do like some of the names on this list here. Let's see. Trey Lance just went. And Rodgers. Interesting.
I have a feeling Lance is being drafted at his ceiling. And I hate to say it because I love Lance, but I don't think this is the year for him. I think even if he starts, I bet it's probably a next year thing. I don't think he's a gamble I'm willing to take this year.
And I'm going to gamble on Valdez Scantling here.
Ooh.
I like the name. I like what I'm seeing out of camp so far. I don't put too much stock into that, but I think he's got a big frame. I think he could be a really good receiver for them. That wide receiver room is still kind of up for grabs, you know. And you are on the clock here. What are you thinking here?
I was hoping Gage would make it, but he's not. So I'm going to limit myself with this pick. I'm taking Robert Woods. I know I mentioned it when I took Burks, but I think in best ball, they might even swap some weeks where one is the wide receiver one is the other. And I hate to do that, but I think with this team, it's going to be Derrick Henry and one of the receivers any given week.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's going to be one of those two, I'll take both of them. And I'm not excited about it. I probably should have taken Olave, but I don't know. I think it can and potentially will pan out.
I think I would have went the same thing as you there. I wouldn't have went for Olave there, but back on the clock.
I mentioned Olave. He's still there. I'll go for it. I'm seeing way too much love for him from Jameis Winston and Saints camp that I can't ignore it. And I'm excited. I think he's going to have a good year. I think he's going to have a great career. But I think I can't even begin to guess what's going to happen with Michael Thomas and what he's going to do this year. But I'll take Olave. I'll double up on some rookie receivers.
Yeah,
Kareem Hunt.
I wanted to go some Kareem. I don't have him in a lot of places here. I feel like just solid coming in still. He's still that number 2 guy there that's consistently being fed, and I like it. I think the Browns are also in a tricky situation this year where they think they might have a quarterback for the year, and it just does not every day looks like they just will not have that quarterback. So it'll be real interesting in Cleveland. Somebody's going to have to step up if they don't have their QB with them this year. So yeah, I like a lot of the Browns' weapons. This guy's draft is actually pretty interesting. 1 QB, 1 running back, 6 receivers. Very, very interesting. And he goes with another receiver. Wow.
Interesting. He's stocking up.
Yeah, and that's the beauty of these kind of drafts. You do a few of them, switch it up, get a few shares of everybody.
Yeah. You know he's going for that the 0 RB strat when his RB1 is Pollard and he's continuing to take receivers.
Listen, and I would never recommend that, but I would also not be scared going into the season with Pollard as one of my starting running backs in a best ball league. I think you look at his opportunity last year and now this year having an opportunity for an even bigger role with no Amari there. I think it's going to be beautiful. In the passing game, they're talking about spreading him out wide. And even throughout the whole last year, Zeke was still putting up top 10 numbers, and you had Pollard right there giving you consistent RB2 flex numbers every week, it seemed like. And some weeks with some boom weeks, and that's what you look for, like you mentioned earlier in best ball. You want those guys that are going to explode one week, win the week for you. The heroes, I like to call them. And I actually I got a pick coming up here, and it's going to be hard for me to ignore this one, but I really love Rashad Penny here. And if he falls to me, I don't think I'm going to hesitate here. You just look at what he did last year when he filled in, and it just makes me excited for him. And I know if you've been following First Seed throughout the preseason, I've been talking about Kenneth Walker a lot, which I do love. But Rashad's going to be that guy there until further notice. And I want all Rashad there.
All right. I'm on the clock, and I'm looking at this, and I might be – all right, there's a few guys without a tight end, but I'm seeing a line of – oh, okay. Yeah, I can wait on a tight end, probably take it with my next pick. But I'm going to take a receiver that I love, and that's Tim Patrick. I think I know he's probably the third, and some would argue the fourth option in Denver, but I think this offense is going to be pass first with Russ. And, I think Tim Patrick, the last 4 seasons or 3, maybe even just 2, has consistently had opportunities to be that wide receiver 1 and wide receiver 2 in this offense. And I don't think he's killed it. He's been great. And I think he's got potential. He's going to have those boom weeks, and then best ball, I'll take advantage of that.
Oh, yeah. Back on
And
the
then
clock here. What are you thinking again?
taking my tight end, because then we're going to get a string of guys without tight ends. I think they're going to panic, just as I am. I'm going to take my tight end, Pat Freiermuth.
I love it.
It's definitely going to be a downturn of passing in Pittsburgh, but I'll take the tight end who has actually shown me stuff in previous seasons, and I love it. Now, what about you? Where are you looking?
I was looking receiver here. I got my KC receiver. I think I'm going to go a little old school. I'm going to go ahead and throw back to 2016
Were you
and
just auto-picked?
Wow, and I got auto-picked.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I would have went Jarvis Landry there. That's a little unfortunate. Worst case scenario, I got the Gronk Brady stack here, so
It's not too bad.
not too bad. Yeah, I probably would have went Jarvis Landry there. I love his opportunity in New Orleans. Just to be that slot guy, there's some great things about him. He's always been that veteran leader type in the locker room, and I think that's something that New Orleans is going to need. Not hindering Jameis's name, but Jameis, it seems like every football team he goes to, he's the captain that nobody actually invests in. And I think Jarvis fills that void this year. He'll be that veteran leadership that they're going to need. Interesting draft so far. There are some names. What about you, Kyle? You like any names on this list coming up here as we near the end here?
I really like. I'll name a few. I like Hines quite a bit. Naeem. Cole Kmet is a great late round tight end that I like targeting. DJ Chark, I think, will have plenty of opportunities in Detroit early in the season, but not much later. Going down. My favorite late 2-round picks, I guess. Kenny Gainwell and James Robinson.
Ooh.
I think they're kind of filled opposite roles this year in their respective offenses. I think Kenny's going to be the receiving back, kind of what he was when Miles Sanders was healthy last year, when Kenny was putting up RB1 numbers as basically the second option in the backfield, but he was kind of the receiver. And James Robinson, I think, is going to be the rusher in Jacksonville, where you're seeing all this hype about ETN kind of coming back. He's looking flashy, but I think there's going to be a lot of him kind of playing out wide as a receiver, running plenty of routes, and Robinson will kind of be that runner for them.
Yeah, and you mentioned ETN. I had to look it up there. I wanted to see where he went. It looks like he was the 18th running back off the board. How do you feel about that?
I love that. I think in best ball, I think that's a fantastic place for him to go. I think he's got a lot of upside this year, and I think 18 is a healthy gamble to take on that kind of late mid RB2 range. So I'm excited for the ETN hype. I'm falling for it, and I'd be drafting him if I wasn't stacking RBs early. That, and he went right before me, or I probably would have considered him.
Right. I think I'm looking at 3 receivers here. I'm going to go ahead and get a guy that has a lot of promise here, and I'm going to go with Jahan Dotson. All the news on him right now is looking very, very positive. Wentz is entering a very fishy situation over there. We had some controversial statements by the coach the other day, or one of the coaches, rather. What are you thinking here, Kyle, before I go on about the Commanders over there?
I'm taking Hines. He's going to be the Commanders. He's going to be a great best ball back because he could have a 30-point game any given week, And rather than gambling on him, I will probably stay completely away from him in redraft this year. But in best ball, I love him. I think he's that pinnacle back you like to target in best ball leagues rather than any other in redraft.
All right.
I'm gonna add this guy to my queue. You better not steal him from me. But hoping to get that Matt Ryan, Hines, Pittman stack.
I like that. Yeah,
I just want to keep him on my radar.
Dude, Matt Ryan could be a very sneaky front runner for MVP. I think the way that it's lined up for him over there, and you went with the Chark pick, which I absolutely love. We actually did a draft not too long ago where I ended up taking Chark. I believe it was in a dynasty pretty late.
Yep.
Thought it was really good value there.
I think, they drafted Jamison Williams. I think he's going to take quite a bit to recover from his ACL tear that he just had a few months ago. And and they just signed Chark. I don't think they signed Chark to be nobody. So I'm buying in.
And I went ahead and I went Pickens there. I wanted another receiver, someone I thought that could provide some nice fantasy value down the road. You got a lot of guys on this list. Van Jefferson, I got my Rams receiver already. I don't think Van is going to be consistent enough. Corey Davis, I loved him last year. He just not consistent. He had some injuries. They drafted receivers. I don't want any part in that. I was looking at Alex Pierce. I think he has a great opportunity over there, but for anybody that's ever followed Matt Ryan, I mean, Matt Ryan feeds his number one receiver.
Oh yeah,
and it's just he's one of the funniest quarterbacks, man. I swear. You watch him drop back in Atlanta, and his eyes automatically went to the guy he was throwing to almost every single play, and it was usually Julio. And this guy is going to feed Pittman all year. That's going to be one of the best tandems going into next season. And redraft, I want every part of it as well. Best ball.
I don't know if you touched your projections, but I finished mine, I think, like last week. And I had Pittman as the wide receiver, I think 11.
Yeah.
And I've got no complaints. I looked at that and I was like, all right, that's my guy this year.
Yeah, that's something that you say and you kind of do a double take on yourself at first because it's just like Michael Pittman that early, but that's very reasonable. I think that's a very good spot to have him at. You just look at his opportunity with Matt Ryan being there, and the biggest thing with all that is the pressure, I think, is not going to be as heavy on Matt Ryan. He's going to have a great run game, great play action, and a great O-line behind it. Oh, man. I'm excited for that Colts team. They're my sleeper Super Bowl pick as well this year.
Ooh.
So let's see here. 5 running backs, 5 receivers.
So you went Pickens. Yeah, you going to back up Brady or you want to steal my Matt Ryan? Go for it.
No, I'm going to let Matt Ryan go there. I'll let you have him. I'm going to actually go with somebody you had mentioned, and that's going to be James Robinson for me. I think if you're looking this late in best ball, I mean, that's just great value, man. And now you're kind of in a similar spot as me stuck
here. I love Kenny. Hopefully he falls back to me, but I got to take Matt Ryan. I can't risk him taking this turn, even though they all have 2 QBs.
Yeah, and can't risk it. Matt Ryan going that late. I think as preseason kicks up here, I think people will come around on him. His ADP will start to rise, but wow, if he's going this late in the 14th round, I might honestly, the next best ball draft we do, I might look to go quarterback a little bit later. You got guys like that falling. You just can't go wrong with Matt Ryan this year.
Mike, I'm looking at 2 RBs here.
Let's hear it.
I'm looking at Kenny. I love him. I think he can honestly probably take over the Philly backfield as the RB1. But sweet. Khalil Herbert was the other one I wanted to mention. I think Herbert, we saw him last year step in for David Montgomery those few weeks that he was hurt. And killed it. He was, I think, an RB1 throughout those weeks, and I mean, not to say Montgomery might potentially get hurt again, but that's a new offense. Maybe Herbert gets featured a little bit more, and
Right.
I wanted a little bit of piece of that.
I have another interesting pick here. I think
You might want to take it quick. You got a few seconds.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna snag Marvin Jones. I just think some nice veteran presence in the best ball league. If I ever need him, I feel like he could pull out a few good weeks there. Still don't know what's going on over there with who's going to be the guy. Obviously, one of the guys has the most money now. That's always a good indicator. Yeah, I'm also looking at that QB list, like you had mentioned, to possibly get another QB here. And the only one that really makes my eyes pop is actually Davis Mills. But he's a little bit further down there, so I'm going to let that go. Probably for another round, see if I can get him next round instead, since he's so far down on this list. Looks like most of the guys got 2 QBs already anyways.
Yeah, it looks like you're the last one.
Yep. So I'll probably wait a little bit longer, see if I can get some better value here, see if anybody stands out. What do you look for in these type of rounds in best ball?
Upside. That's pretty much it. So, like, to name a few, Curtis Samuel was hurt last year, but I think he's probably got the most upside of a lot of these guys. You could say the same about J.D. McKissick. He's that receiving kind of back. And those guys, again, boom bust weeks, but in best ball, that's what you want. And then kind of the guys that are big question marks, like, I don't know what John Mechie's going to do, but I have plenty of him. And I think to be the wide receiver 2 in Houston, they need probably somebody else to throw to other than Brandon Cooks. And it's probably going to be Mechie. So I've been buying into that. I look for just kind of guys like Laviska Shenault. He's been hyped up the past 2 years, and finally I think he's priced at probably what he has been doing. And who knows, maybe this year, new coach, new system, maybe this is the year. I kind of go with those guys, the big upside ones,
right?
The ones that we might have seen something from them in the past, or the ones that have the hype, all the hype in the world, and haven't shown it late now, and now you're buying into the hype, the post-hype discount, I should say.
Yeah, and you just talked about some nice value. That's why I went with Paris here. I was very high on him last year, and it just never seemed to work out. He was coming back from the injury the prior year. I got some high hopes from him, like we were just talking about that nice Indianapolis team. Some not bad value late there. There are some names left on this list that are very familiar. Like you got guys like Will Fuller and Odell there that if they signed with any team, they would have been gone on this list already.
Yep.
What do you think about those kind of picks this late? Would you ever take a chance on someone like them, or even if you scroll down, you got guys like Julio unsigned, Justin Ross, who hasn't made the team yet but could very easily be the number 1 in Kansas City. What do you think about those type of picks this late?
It's tricky. So like Odell this late, I'm willing to buy in on, just because he was used late last season and used effectively. So it's possible that he still has some steam left in him. But the other guys like Julio, I just won't touch him, just because we didn't see anything from him last year, and I think the year before he was consistently hurt. So he's one I'm probably actively staying away from. So then here, I should say I picked up my second tight end, Evan Engram, another guy we saw flashes of, saw potentials from him, and I'm buying in. I'm going to get actually a third QB to add on to my Tennessee passing stack, and I probably took a guy you were eyeing.
Yeah, but it's all good.
But to stack him with Woods and Burks, I mean, who knows? Maybe there's a huge passing attack in like 5 weeks this year, and I'll win on those weeks. So why not this late? I didn't love anybody else that was appearing on those lists. So
Yeah, and I was looking quarterback like you had said. I was looking at Tannehill. Obviously, Tannehill had such a huge year and then a disappointing year last year. But I'm going to go Jared Goff here. I just like the revamp, and I'm sure you're happy with that pick
oh
here.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, how can you not, man? That team is on the up and up. They have weapons all over the place, man. You still got one of the most lethal receiving weapons on that team in DeAndre Swift, which I hope they keep it up this year. Even though they added some weapons, I hope he's still very, very involved in the pass game. And from how much stock you want to put into it or not, but the coaches are saying that that's going to keep up going into this year. So I really like it. You know, that Detroit team could surprise some people.
And I'm willing to bet that they are. I'm excited for them this year. I'm not expecting playoffs or Super Bowl, but I'm definitely expecting something exciting.
Oh, yeah.
So then what about you? Which guys down here do you which ones catch your eye?
Yeah, I'm going down the list now. I'm looking for possibly another running back here that is a backup that could potentially, with an injury, see a huge role. I know some of these guys went a lot earlier, but I would always look at guys like Ronald Jones. I think besides Tony Pollard, and guys like Kareem Hunt, who kind of have that solidified number 2 role, I think Ronald Jones is going to surprise people this year. Um, I think they're going to use him a lot on the goal line because CEH, I mean, he just really struggled in between the tackles within the red zone last year. I just remember so many games they tried it earlier in the season, kind of gave up on him in the goal line situations. And I think that's where Ronald Jones steps in. I think he'll be great down the playoff stretch if they are involved, which I think they will be. Um, I think he'll be a great number 2, but he went a lot earlier here. Some of the running backs on this list I'm not too high on, actually. I might steer back to receiver again here. You got guys down the list like Chuba Hubbard, who would be the number 2. God forbid anything happens. Some guys like Chris Evans. I see Sony Michel, who I honestly I don't think I could get the stomach to draft a Miami Dolphins running back this year with the amount of guys in that locker room right now. Just can't do it.
Yeah.
Ooh. Tough spot here. They got Taysom Hill listed as a tight end. That would be very interesting. But I'm actually going to go James Washington. I think he'll be a nice addition to that Dallas team. He's very similar to Michael Gallup, but I like what he could do. I think he'll be interesting. What are you looking at here? You got 3 quarterbacks, 6 and 6, 2 tight ends.
I'm looking at a receiver. None of these excite me. I have a ton of Velus Jones just because why not? I think he's the wide receiver 2 there, but I'm going to pick before I get timed out. Amari Rodgers. I think of these guys, probably the most upside. Who knows? He might be the wide receiver 2 in Green Bay. He might get 2 catches throughout the season. But in best ball, I'm willing to take that gamble.
All right.
There it is.
That is it. Some interesting names left on that list too. That's the beauty of it. You go back and look at it, and there's some guys in those last few rounds that I could have easily seen myself taking, if I would have went different routes there. But what are you thinking? What do you like here about your team in particular?
I love my tight ends, I love my QBs. My tight ends are okay. But I like these guys. I think, I don't know, Herbert might have a down week, and that's when Matt Ryan or Tannehill ball out or put up an average like 22-point game and keep me in it. But then, these running backs, they're incredible. I love these 2 especially as late round guys. And they've been guys I've been targeting. I probably have plenty of exposure on those two. And then I don't know. I'm iffy on my receivers. I think there's plenty of upside here, but nothing to clamor about.
Yeah, I like him though. Like you said, that Pittman pick I think is going to be one of those sneaky wide receiver one picks that you don't draft as a
Yep.
wide receiver one. So that's great there. Yeah, I
What
looking
about your
at my
team?
team too. I'm really liking my RBs there. I think I got some really deep running backs. I like the receivers I got. I think some big name receivers that can give me some big games with some guys on the
Oh
bench
yeah.
that could potentially give me some points. And I like my quarterback tight end stack. Yeah, this is a team I would really like to see what happens with. Definitely one of the ones I'll be paying attention to as the season goes on here. I think I got some solid depth everywhere, not really a weak spot anywhere per se.
Oh yeah.
Um, Wide receiver again, probably the weakest spot. I got my two guys up front, and then I got a bunch of question marks behind them. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, that's something I could live with. I'd rather get those guys I know are going to be consistent, take some shots on some wide receivers later. So yeah, well-rounded draft. Not too many surprises in this one. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm with you. This seemed pretty standard. I can't get behind Kyle Pitts in the second. I personally not a fan of that. No matter the format, maybe dynasty, but even then, I don't know. Tight ends too early. Never excite me. And Kelsey in the first is still funky. But either way, uh, great draft, Mike. Happy to spend this morning with you. This was
Oh
fun.
yeah,
Do
definitely,
you?
definitely.
Let's do this again next week, dude.
Yeah, I'm down, man. Listen, I want that prize money this year. 500,000, man, and the puppy. I mean, oof.
Oh yeah,
We can make this a weekly thing. What do you think, Kyle?
let's do it. Yeah, we're planning on doing this weekly, whether it's Thursdays or it's Wednesdays, but we'll keep you posted on which specific days those are. Um, give us a follow, shoot us any messages or questions you might have, and then use code First Seed if you want to try out Underdog yourself. And then, yeah, have a fantastic day, and
Yeah,
thanks for
have,
drafting with me, Mike.
yeah, no problem. Have a great day, man. Everybody watching, thanks for tuning in, and we will see you next week.
See you then.